Welcome back to Blow Up the Team. My name's Matt, and today we're going to talk about some more MLB preseason grades. I'm joined by my co-host, Jeremy. Say hello.
Yo.
How you doing today?
Man, I'm surviving. That's all you can ask for, right?
Yeah. And, I guess that's fair. I guess that's fair. I'm doing okay. It's weird. I'm seeing three exes in one day. Seeing both my ex-girlfriends today, and I'm seeing I saw both my ex-girlfriends today, and now I'm about to see my ex-favorite Yankee. It sucks. Everything sucks.
Yeah, it's rough, my guy.
So let's talk about the Phillies. The Phillies in 2019 horribly underperformed expectations. Now, they weren't expected to dominate the NL East or anything. They're expected to do far more than 81 and 81. They won the offseason moves with signing Bryce Harper, and things were supposed to really look up for them, and it just didn't quite work out. Gabe Kapler was not an effective manager. Their bullpen was hot garbage. The rotation was underperforming. The hitters were underperforming. Bryce Harper was basically stone at the plate for the first half. Now he came back to have a pretty good second half and overall finished the year with a pretty decent stat line. But he definitely struggled for a while there, and just top to bottom, this team was not good. Um, they traded for Jay Bruce to actually be a jump starter for this team, and he was for a little bit. They also signed. They also traded for Gene Segura, who's been pretty good for them. Uh, but overall, the team was just missing something. And the thing is pitching. They also had a problem. They also won the offseason last year by getting JT Realmuto in a giant trade with the Marlins, which saw them send top prospect Sixto Sanchez to them for probably the best catcher in the National League. And he's only there for, I think this is his last season before he's up. Maybe one more after. So I think it's just this season. Which in that case, you got to win now. But 2019 was just not it. And then Andrew Mccutchen, their other big signing, because they made a lot of signings. They were probably the most active team in the 2018 offseason. Got injured very early on into the season, like only a month or so into the season, just randomly stepping on first base, just tore his ACL and was out. And so this whole team is just injuries and underperforming players just absolutely sunk it. Oh yes, and Odubel Herrera turning out to be a domestic abuser and being banned for 80 games also didn't help. And then regression of Mike Alfred. Basically, what I'm saying is everything went wrong. Coming into this season, they signed Zack Wheeler and then made a lot of moves that really didn't add up to a whole lot. They also, sadly for me, signed Didi Gregorius to a 1-year contract. Not that I blame them for signing a contract with them, because he'll get to start and won't have to compete to play with Didi Gregorius, and he deserves that starting job, but still miss the guy. So let's just get in and talk right about the lineup here. Leading off, you got Andrew Mccutchen, former MVP, overall MLB, favorite, longtime former, now former longtime Pirate. Andrew Mccutchen has been a pretty, solid player for his whole career. He's definitely not the same caliber of player he was when he was an MVP in Pittsburgh. But he's definitely past his late 20s prime, but he's still a good player and definitely worth definitely a starting quality outfielder. And he could still put together some pretty good games, I think, easily as his career kind of hits the last few seasons. I don't think this is going to be his last season. I think he's got maybe 3 or 4 more seasons left in him if he really wants to keep going. Because he's such a presence. But anyway, he's got his bat is overall pretty good. His strikeout to walk ratio has been hovering around the same thing for most of his career. Last year, it was actually looking pretty good, like it usually does. Very not too many more strikeouts, and but his average has been slipping in the past few seasons. It seems to be hovering in the 250s the last two, but once again, he only played 59 games last year, so there's a lot to unpackage there. If he gets hot, he could end up having a much better bat than that. But his ability to get on base and his ability to have some decent power. I mean, he hit 10 home runs in 59 games last year when he hit 20 home runs in 155 in 2018. So that short term that short sprints of power for him could end up being a pretty important thing for this team if they want to make some noise in the postseason. Oh, random note I forgot. Former Yankees manager and guy who definitely did not deserve to be fired after 2017, Joe Girardi, is back managing, and this time with the Phillies. I don't think he ever thought he would be, managing the team that he beat in the World Series, but here we are. I think Girardi will be a huge kick in the ass for this clubhouse. Gabe Kapler was widely regarded as, from behind the scenes as being kind of a pushover and not that effective of a manager. Everyone knows that Girardi does not take anyone's shit. So hopefully, managers can make a big difference, and I think he's the caliber of manager that can make a big difference. Going next, Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper had a on paper, everyone thinks about Bryce Harper. They think about 2015. 2015 is such a ridiculous season to compare him to because in 153 games, he hit 330 with 1100 OPS and 42 home runs, only 99 RBIs, and walked almost as much as he struck out. That was such a ridiculous performance. It's not surprising he hasn't really come close to that form again, with the exception of 2017, but he only played 111 games that season. Um, Now, everyone coming into this season, there was high expectations because even though he definitely had a down year in Washington 2018, only a 249 average, he still walked 130 times and drove in 100 runs. 2019, he hit 260, the 372 on base percentage. His on base percentage is down, his strikeouts were up, and his walks were down. But his RBIs were up, and his home runs were at 35. And a lot of people were really flaming him for what he's been doing because a lot of people, it's always fun to hate on Bryce Harper. He's absolutely a hothead. You saw it in 20. A lot of his big hotheaded moments were in 2015 when he was the big, guy to beat. Um, and when you're that young and dominating the league, obviously, I think I think it would go to most people's heads that about what's going on. So, um, however, I don't think by any means last season was actually overall that bad for him. Though his batting average wasn't impressive, and he struck out a shitload more than he usually does compared the strikeout to walk ratio wise. He still walked 99 times because he did have that turnaround in the second half. He still had a slugging of over 500. He still had an on base percentage in the high 300s. And the big thing for him is that his power didn't go away. His power is still very much there from his previous seasons, and so he still has the tools to be a high caliber player. And so what I think you're gonna start seeing is that he's gonna hit in this 260 to 270 range over the course of the rest of his career, which is fine when you have power like 30 plus home runs a year to back it up, and walking at a click of almost a 1-to-1 ratio. So I think a lot of it was. I think even though Bryce Harper plays with a lot of confidence, I think I think anyone playing with $30 million well, not 30 million, close to $30 million a year, you know, behind you, you're gonna have a little bit of a hard adjustment because you're gonna try to do everything. I think that was his big problem. He just tried to do too much, and second half he turned it around and really, really scorched things. So I think that you'll see an overall improvement in numbers from him. Now, obviously, it's only going to be 60 games, but overall, I think the idea that Bryce Harper is somehow, doing something ridiculously different from what he usually has done is definitely not correct. It's a bit cabby.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
I think the other thing that I noticed, and obviously this is from the perspective of a much more casual baseball fan, I hear too many people try to compare him to Mike Trout. Please stop.
Oh my God, you can never compare. Like, listen, first of all, the only people you can compare to Mike Trout are five-tool players. He is not a five-tool player. He is definitely a huge power guy. He's got a cannon of an arm, but the other stuff, like, he's not a five-tool player. He is an excellent player. And the problem is when you have an insane year like 2015, just talking from WAR stat, which is wins above replacement, which is a general stat to tell how many wins were attributed to just that one player. 2015 he had a 9.7 WAR, which he won MVP for justifiably, and he was Mike Trout that season. He did have a Mike Trout season that season. But you know what he's not? He's not Mike Trout, and that's okay. Everyone who gets a big payday in the MLB, everyone nowadays wants to say that they have to be the next Mike Trout to get that type of payday. But that's just not the case. Not everyone is going to be Mike Trout, and Mike Trout's getting paid more than any of these people. Manny Machado had his day in the sun of being one of the biggest contracts of all time. Bryce Harper then took the stage for a day, and then Mike Trout came in and said, "No one's ever getting paid more than me. Don't worry," uh, and made absolute bank for the rest of his life, as long as he wants to. Um, so, uh, but on his WAR year, like, in 2017, don't get me wrong, he played less games. He had a 4.8 WAR. He had a 4.3 WAR, which is significantly good. An average player is, at a 0 WAR, and he had a very good offensive season, and overall, his OPS plus, which is basically how much, like, with 100 being the average, how much better he was. He was still better, 25% better than most batters are, most players are, and though for a guy getting paid this much and for over much a long time, you definitely want to see some better numbers. I don't think people understand how much better that they need to be. If you're expecting this guy to hit 330 every season or in the 300s every season, you didn't pay attention to when he first came up, and you didn't pay attention to anything he's done in his career. He doesn't, he has always been. He hits lots of doubles and lots of home runs, and he walks a lot. And in the year when he won Rookie of the Year, he didn't even walk a lot, and he had, a pretty good season. So anyway, that's my Bryce Harper ran over. I love the Nationals, but I think I 100% sympathize and understand Nationals fans who are angry that he left, and I was rooting for him to stick around. But definitely, definitely overreaction to how his season went. Going next, JT Realmuto. He dominated last season, 25 home runs, 83 RBIs, 275 average in 145 games while being the catcher in a National League team. Um, he really, really took in stride his role. His eye is definitely his weakest category of of his batting skills, but his batting skills are really good. He's a pretty sound fielder overall, and so having him is a pretty huge boost to any uh, team. And I expect the Phillies to try and re-sign him this offseason because that's a pretty huge offensive force for them. You have Jay Bruce at DH, and Jay Bruce belongs at DH because he can't really field. He is a gifted power hitter with absolutely no ability to not strike out a whole bunch and field. He hit, he hits a lot for power, but will not get on base that much because he strikes out far more than he walks. And this is the exact type of guy that you want in a DH role. He only played 98 games last year and still hit 26 home runs. So the guy has plenty of power despite being 33. I think having him at DH will be a huge plus for this Phillies team. They don't need to have a defensive sacrifice to put him in there, so you can put younger and a more untested guys in, or who are going to be faster and able to field better than him, who would probably lose a spot to him because of the bat. which is exactly what I'll talk about towards the end of the lineup. That I think, uh, this would be an overall improvement for the team. Rhys Hoskins is your first baseman. He's been a pretty solid first baseman. He's got good power and decent walking skills, but his average ain't pretty, which isn't uncommon. Um, if you can see any one of those offensive categories improve for him, I think that'll be really good for them. He's young and you still have control of him for the next 4 years. And so you got a lot of time to develop him still. And overall, he's a solid first baseman, not a whole lot to, with a solid bat, if a little bit iffy in the, getting with the, even if it's iffy with the, um, making contact area. Next up, you got Didi. Didi played 82 games last year, had 16 home runs, only batted .238, but he was coming off a Tommy John surgery. And anyone coming off a Tommy John surgery isn't going to have a whole lot of fun. The guy will go through. He's prone to being a very streaky hitter. He'll look like God one month and then struggle heavily the next month. I think he had in April of 2018, he was the best batter in the American League. He hit a bunch of home runs. He drove in a bunch of runs. He was hitting well over 300 and then hit below 200 in June or in May. So they, gave him like 2 weeks off and in total during May just to let him figure what was going on out. The man pulls the ball a lot. He did not hit a single opposite field home run in his time at the Yankees. I don't think he's hit an opposite field home run in his career. His batting is very much pull-sided, which can be a plus for some areas like having good power, but it does mean he is a huge victim to the shift, and his walking ability isn't so great. Though for a guy who doesn't walk a lot, any amount of at-bats he does generally put the ball in play. But like I said, he's a huge victim to the shift. Going next, you have Gene Segura at third base. He was at shortstop last season, but he's with the signing of Didi Gregorius, he is shifting over to third base, which I think is fine. You did trade Michael Franco to the Royals, and so overall, I don't think it's a bad by any means shift. His overall, he's got a good bat. He'll hit in the upper 200s. He has hit over 300 before in full season action. He definitely, his walking ability isn't really there. It's okay, but his on base percentage isn't that much bigger. It isn't that much of a boost to his average. And he definitely strikes out a bit more than he walks. But the other thing, like similar to Didi, so he doesn't do a whole lot of that. He does put the ball in play a lot. But he will have he is better at hitting the ball over the field than all over the field than Didi is, and so his average is going to be better than his, with less power though. Behind him, you have Scot Kangri. He's on the COVID-19 injured list, and so you might see someone like Josh Harrison at second base for you guys to start the season. But overall, it's still likely that I'm not sure if he's likely to make the roster or not. Let's see, hold on. Okay, yeah, the recent update on him is that he is cleared to rejoin the Phillies. And the reason why he's been on the list is, unlike most players, he has been hit really hard with it. He had a really rough case, but he's fine now, and he's healthy again. But he is going to need time to ramp up, and so he shouldn't miss too many games. And overall, is probably going to still end up going to be your starter once he's back. So, Scot Kingery over the past 2 seasons, he's been up in the league. Not much in the means of hitting for, not a whole lot with average. He atrocious strikeout to walk ratio. He seems to have some pop in his bat for a second baseman. In 458 at bats, he only had 19 home runs, but he also had a slugging of 474, which is pretty okay. So not horrible. He seems to be kind of streaky, so maybe if you can get a good streak out of him, he can produce quite a bit out of the 8-hole. And in your 9 hole, it's going to be a mix between different outfielders. You got Adam Hasley, projected to be a starter. You also have Roman Quinn and Nick Williams and Odubel Herrera. Because Adam Hasley is the projected starter, he had his first season last year in 67 games. He had 266 with 5 home runs. I'm not going to make too many sweeping predictions about him. He's hitting ninth because he's new, and they don't. He's going to be a platoon outfielder with a seemingly average bat to slightly below average bat. You don't know what you're getting with him until the season starts, really, because he hasn't been up long enough. Going into your starting rotation, a couple off seasons ago in the 2017 offseason, you signed Jake Arrieta to a decently sized contract. The Cubs just happened to get the best, 4 years, 5 years, best 4 years of his career. He had a 4.78 ERA in his last year with the Orioles, and then for 4 seasons dominated the National League, especially in 2014 and 2015 with a 2.53 and a 1.77 ERA in both those seasons, and a 22-game winner in 2015, and pitched 2 no-hitters, one in 2015 and 2016. It was a big part of that postseason rotation for the Cubs. So they absolutely got the best years out of him. He wasn't bad for the Phillies in 2018, 3.96 ERA overall. The team was overall bad and didn't get much run support. Last year, he struggled when he was healthy, and then also wasn't healthy for most of the season. For a lot of the season, only pitching in 24 games with a 4.64 ERA and a low strikeout ratio. It's just overall, his walks were about the same, but his strikeouts were down. You're going to want to see some definite improvements from him in the rotation. You also have Zack Wheeler. Zack Wheeler was your big offseason signing this year. Very, very good pitcher. He was injured for now. He only pitched. He only has 5 years in the majors, but was already a free agent because 2 of his years after starting to play were spent on the injured list, struggling to come back from injury after 2014.
He was on the Mets
Um,
last season, right? Or am I tripping?
no, he was.
Okay, sorry.
And so over the course of 2017, 2018, 2019, it was really all about rebuilding for him. 2017, it looked like he was coming back and not going to be anywhere the same that he was in 2013, 2014. He had a 5.21 ERA. His fastball was actually about what it was, but his whip was atrocious. He wasn't striking guys out. It was looking bad. 2018, he had a complete turnaround, a 3.31 ERA. His strikeouts went up. He made it through most of the season healthy. Only missed a couple of starts. Only missed a couple of starts in 2019 as well. Only missed 2 starts. 195 innings pitched, 11 and 8, 3.96 ERA, a 1.26 WHIP, career high in strikeouts, and lowered his walks again and increased his fastball velocity. And so what the Phillies get here is a pretty solid starting pitcher who keeps, turning it up. I expect, in a short season a short season to overall be good for him. Um, and this could really be a big help for Aaron Nola, who's been mostly the only big rotation piece for the Phillies. Aaron Nola, we'll talk about him. We're kind of talking out of order, but I want to talk in order of who you picked up. Really established himself as a dominant pitcher in 2018, pitching to a 2.37 ERA, 224 strikeouts in 212 innings. 2019 definitely not as good. Still pitched 200 innings, made 34 starts, and 229 strikeouts. But his ERA was up, his WHIP was up, um, his control was down, with his fastball also ticking up higher. So I wonder if just throwing harder kind of backfired on him. I have to wait and see what you get this season to see how he's going to recover from not a bad season, but not as dominant as 2018. But I think Aaron Nola is a very, very, very solid big league pitcher. Um, Behind and definitely developing into that ace quality pitcher. This season will be a big, telling if he's really ready to turn that corner or if he's not. There's anything bad with just being an overall solid starting pitcher. Behind in fourth is Vince Velasquez. This is where this rotation just takes a deep dive. Vince Velasquez's best career numbers for a full season was a 4.85 ERA. Last year he had a 4.91 ERA. He had a really high WHIP. He had a little bit better strikeouts than walks. He does not look good as a rotation piece. He's been up for 5 years now and has not had a good year in the rotation. So that I think the problem is the Phillies can't really experiment with him in the bullpen because their pitching is that thin, especially after trading Sixto Sanchez. Zach Eflin is he actually had an okay 2019. He had moments. He was 10-13 with a 4.13 ERA. His WHIP was a little bit above where he wanted to be, and he's not a big strikeout guy. And so guys like this tend to make better. A lot of it depends on how good of a defensive quality your infield is. I think they have a pretty good infield defense wise in Philly, so maybe you can see his numbers improve. If you see his strikeouts improve at all, that'd be a big help to him. But overall, the bottom two on this are definitely big, not good to finish out a rotation. And then we click on the bullpen. This is one of the most painful bullpens to look at because it is literally like they're looking at the Brewers. It's like, hey, Josh Hader. Hey, other players who are definitely not going to get blown up. Hector Narus has been your only bullpen arm for his entire career, really. Last year, he pitched a 2.93 ERA with 89 strikeouts, 6-7 innings. He's very much a splitter. He throws lots of splitters. When his splitter is off, he is going to give up the save. He's going to blow the save. But he's also got the problem of the fact he's the only person who can pitch out a game or finish a game with quality. He gets himself into a little bit of trouble with, control and. But overall, I think a lot of Phillies fans just put a lot of the blame on him when they should be just putting the blame on the manager for not hiring anyone to help him. He pitched 68 games last year, 67 innings, to a 2.93 ERA. That's good stats. He had a horrible 2018, but in 2017, he pitched 74 innings with 3.01 ERA. The year before that, 80 innings to 2.58. Guy has clearly good enough stuff to be a productive reliever. If we go next, we have Nick Pivetta, who had experimentations in the rotation that did not work, and has found himself in the reliever role. Maybe being in the reliever role will be an overall career improvement for him. Any guy who struggles that much, maybe he can turn himself into, get good pitches for one inning and be really dominant in that one inning. So hopefully this is an improvement for him. And that it seems like it's pretty set in stone that he will be in the bullpen. So maybe this will be a turning point for him. The rest of this bullpen, there is not a whole lot of innings, or their innings are all really, really bad, with the exception of Jose Alvarez. He actually had a pretty decent season last year. 59 innings, a 3.36 ERA. But the rest is a little ugly. So there's really not any there's not any pieces here that scream we're going to dominate. This is, you can rely on us. So big concerns there. I will say, you do have David Robertson, who you signed. David Robertson got injured with, he went down with Tommy John. He had a pretty rough start to his Phillies career, getting blown up in his first two save opportunities. But then he got Tommy John and ended his season. Hopefully this season you will see him back. There hasn't been a whole lot of new. I don't know if he's opted. Let me look this up. I don't know if he's opted out or if he's just not ready yet. Okay, June 29th. So, he's still rehabbing from his Tommy John surgery. It's weird. He went down with some injury, and then from that injury and trying to rehab his other injury, he had to get Tommy John. But he's supposedly feeling pretty good. His velocity is starting to come back a bit. He's hoping to be back by the middle of this season. And if you can get him back, that'll definitely be some good relief out of the bullpen. He's been a consistently solid reliever for, a lot of years on the Yankees, and, his short time on the White Sox, he was a very solid reliever. Yeah, he's only had a couple seasons where it's like pure dominance, like in 2013 with a 204, and well, actually no, he's had a couple of pretty dominant years, but he's always been very solid, a very reliable bullpen guy who can, give you quality innings. And he was one of my favorite relievers to watch on the 2018 team, and when he was just ever on the Yankees. That's all I really want to talk about in general on this team. Going to the players you want to focus on, Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper is, you know, the thing about baseball is everyone likes to focus on the big old numbers that don't really mean as much anymore. Um, his average isn't going to be, he's not a 300 hitter. He's not. He's a mid to high 200s hitter with lots of power and a high slugging and with a really good batting eye. And that's what's most important for him, is seeing his batting eye return, see him not strike out as much as he did last year, and see him get more comfortable playing in Philly and, being that star for this team. Uh, Going next, DD. This is a bias pick. This is my show. I am the dictator. You can call me El Presidente if you want. I am throwing him in here because I love Didi, and I'm very sad. This picture makes me sick to my stomach. I don't think I can really wear my Didi jersey in properly. Stop. Get some help.
Listen, man, I'm not the one that's you know, on the verge of tears over this, man.
Listen, I'm not on the verge of tears. I'm just very sad. I'm allowed to be sad.
Valid.
I've been sad a lot lately, man. It's just a lot of sadness.
We
Okay.
cannot confirm or deny if you were actually on the verge of tears when he first signed there.
I can confirm I did not cry.
Yes, but
I
on
was
the
sad.
verge of.
Definitely was not on the verge of.
Cap.
I'm not.
Cap.
Okay, buddy.
Cap.
Okay, buddy. Anyway, Didi is on a 1-year contract. I hope he tears it up for the Phillies, and Phillies fans, he knows how to pimp home runs pretty well, and he seems to hit home runs in really big situations. So, go Didi. Next, Zack Wheeler. This is going to be the most important pitcher in rotation this year. He is going to be the biggest thing that improves it. Hopefully, we can continue to see that, improvement that he's shown over the past few seasons. And he can really be a breath of life into this rotation. Going next, Hector Narus. Get this man help. He needs help. He is good, but you can't throw a guy into every single situation and throw him into so many innings, expecting him to be able to do everything all season long. Of course, he's going to struggle at times. Every reliever is. No reliever's perfect. Even Mariano Rivera blew saves. He didn't blow many, but he still blew saves. No man is Mariano Rivera. Hector Narus is a very good reliever. Get him some help. Do something. Trade for someone. You need it. He deserves it. Phillies Twitter hates him, just really unnecessarily. So, let's go into these grades. Lineup. I'm actually really liking lineup overall. You're really lacking that one true contact hitter that's going to get on base enough. Bryce Harper's going to get on base a lot, but he's also going to, drive in lots of runs, and you need that one guy who's going to consistently be on base a whole bunch, whether it's by contact or by, you know, anything. Like, you got some decent contact guys, and you got a decent contact guy in Gene Segura, but you don't have that guy who's going to be, able to poke a single in. He's not going to, he's a guy who's not going to strike out a whole bunch or just hit a lot of sac flies to the warning track. So I'm going to give it a B+. It has good power and some pretty decent pieces, but it's just missing a little bit that I like to see in a lineup to balance it out. Bullpen C minus. It gets a C minus because Hector Narus in it. C minus without David Robertson. C plus with David Robertson. So we'll call it a C. If David Robertson doesn't come back, it's a C minus. But David Robertson comes back, it moves up to a C plus. You just need more guys in that bullpen that are good. In rotation, I will give a B minus. I like to focus mostly on your top three. You have a pretty good top three. Not that really lockdown ace, but really good guys. But your problem is Vince Velasquez and Zach Eflin are not it. Now, if one of them can show that they have big, league starter quality stuff this season, maybe things will change. But at this very moment, they are the weak men out in this rotation by a lot. The Phillies are in the running for the NL East. I think the problem is that the Mets and Braves made improvements to their bullpen. The Phillies really have not, and that's going to leave them wanting for more. I have them missing the wild card this year, barring some big performances out of the bullpen from unexpected sources. And that is it. Tomorrow is the Yankees. It is the one I've been looking forward to since I started this damn series. Gotta say, it feels weird being almost done.
Somehow it feels like in fucking 30 videos each, the ending is snuck up on us.
Yeah, it just feels because I think we've just been so used to like the schedule of just doing this just constantly, like, and I'm really glad we changed up how we were doing this because like just doing it one video a night has been really nice just to have something to do and to put these together. It ain't about the views for me. It's about just getting out and enjoying it. I mean, I've been enjoying talking baseball, even if it's mostly to myself, because I guess I've already wrote in our channel planning chat today, not that long ago. Where was it?
I don't know, that chat was pretty active today, so I don't
Yes, it
know.
was. Wait, where the hell is it? Was it in? Was it not in channel? Oh no, it was in announcements.
Oh, yes.
Matt, this boy really hates your shit, Lamal. The bot hasn't been posting announcements for my videos. I would say people watch my vids do too, but that would require people actually watching them. So that's where I'm at right now. But I'm still enjoying making videos, and I'm still enjoying doing all this, and so it just feels weird that it's at the end. And I'm so psyched for tomorrow. I really, really am looking forward to it. But anyway, go ahead, drop a like, comment, subscribe. Oh, fuck ESPN, by the way. ESPN for the past 4 seasons has said LA is going to the World Series and winning it. And this year they say the LA and the Yankees are going to go to the World Series and LA is on top. It's like, bruh, every year you have a new reason why LA is on top, and they never do it. Dave Robertson is a terrible postseason manager. Dave Roberts will somehow fuck it up. So yeah, the best team in the AL East, the AL, is coming up tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it. So keep an eye out for that, and thank you for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and well, I don't have a wonderful rest of my night now. It's 1 o'clock, and I really don't want to do anything. So all I want to do is all I want to do is watch Avatar. I mean, like, it's a kids show, but like it's an awesome kids show. It's awesome. You're not even really a kids show. It's like, bro, like 2 episodes in, you're learning about genocide.
What the fuck?
Second episode, it's like, oh hey, here's the temple you grew up in. Here's a bunch of dead skeletons of people who were murdered by firebenders. It was a genocide of airbenders.
I mean, you're not wrong.
No, I'm not.
Anyways, giving you a transition.
What
Slowly waiting.
transition?
Hmm?
Goodbye.
No?